Cool, we're recording. Oh yeah. Hi, this is our presentation on the impact of the crowdedness on campus gym attendance by
My name is Lileah Duncan.
I'm Shaayaan.
I'm Collin.
And I'm Krish. So getting into our project, this is our introduction. So we thought about how college students rely on campus gyms for physical and mental health, and we thought about factors that may influence college students going to campus gyms. So we looked at how crowdedness may influence attendance habits. We investigated how different days of the week of the semester affect student gym attendance, and we used as our resources, we used this data set from UC Berkeley, crowdedness at the campus gym. And these variables include both qualitative and quantitative measures. And our overall goal um, of this thing was to help students choose optimal times to work out by understanding gym attendance patterns across the week.
Okay. And as for our research question for our project, it's does crowdedness at the gym based on the type of the day affect students' gym attendance? And for our expected outcome section, for our null hypothesis, we got that attendance should be the same regardless of the day of the week. Whereas for our alternative hypothesis, we got that lower attendance at the beginning of the week is due to the lack of motivation and just the distribution of work from classes at the start of the week. And for our variables, our independent variable is the day of the week, which is a qualitative variable as well. And each day type going from Monday through Sunday is treated as own separate category. And we also excluded holidays to kind of keep this comparison fair. And this is the factor that we're testing to see whether or not it influences students' gym attendance. And for our dependent variable, we got gym attendance, which is quantitative, and this kind of represents the number of people in the gym at each of the times that we measure. And this is the outcome we're comparing across all of the days throughout the week to see if certain days tend to be a little more busier than others in terms of student attendance at the gym.
For our methods, our data was collected in 2017 by a UC Berkeley student. His name was Nick
You're
Rose.
muted.
Oh my gosh. I'm muted?
You're good now.
Okay. Sorry about that. For our data, it was collected in 2017 by UC Berkeley, a UC Berkeley student. His name was Nick Rose. About 26,000 of those observations he had were in 10-minute intervals. And he logged the attendance of the gym entries, and we got the source from a website named Kaggle. Some limitations within our data set would be some sampling bias, as we only got this data from one university, as well as measurements, as not everyone who entered the gym may have been there just to primarily work out.
So going into kind of the data wrangling as itself, like Lileah mentioned, these days we're taking at like 10-minute snapshots. So we had like hundreds of rows for almost each day. So step one was kind of combining those rows. If you look at column F, I turned and unique functioned column B so that it only show us one data point for each day of the week. And then for the max or the amount of people there, we did a max function instead of averaging because people can go during any time of the day and just want to see like max attendance for that day. And so the main three steps are figuring out what part of the data we want to showcase, which was the days of the week, how to make it manageable. That was by removing the non-holiday days, like Cheyenne mentioned, and then combining each of those timestamps into one day. And then we decided to analyze the data with a single variable ANOVA test, which I'll explain in the following slide. Cool. So these is the results from our ANOVA single factor. We chose to do this test because there's one independent variable, but that's also in multiple groups. So the independent variable is the days of the week, like Cheyenne mentioned. But because there are multiple like groups in these variables, we then had to do a single factor ANOVA test with a dependent variable being the max number of attendance. Looking at this as a ANOVA test, we can see a p-value that is quite small, 6.13 times 10 to the negative 9, which shows that there is significance in the fact that there's not much or variation or difference between attendance looking at different days of the week. So on the next slide, I'll kind of say like what we conclude from that. Cool. So looking at a conclusion, because that p-value was so small, there's not a significant impact on the day of the week on the max student attendance. This is important to know because understanding patterns helps students choose optimal time to work out, like Krish said, and this also can help the university as well, as they can work to plan gym staffing and resource allocation for the more peak, I guess, times or the week. To continue the study, we could dive into more detail, look at times and which were most significant, like times for people working out or variations in temperature or parts of the year. But for this one factor, our conclusion is that day of the week overall does not impact the max student attendance at the gym. Thank you for watching our presentation, and yeah, that's it. How long was that? Did anyone?